Hi there, it's Chloe from the Riverscapes Assessment and Monitoring Laboratory, and today we're going to go over some ArcPro curation basics like exporting and applying a lyrx file, and then just some basic tips for how to do symbology work in ArcPro. So here I have a layer open and I'm satisfied with how the symbology looks. So to export the lyrx file, you just need to right-click your layer, hover over sharing, and click Save as Layer File. So you want to name this file according to what you find in the business logic, the symbology key. Luckily, this is just the field name, so OCCEX, and save it somewhere where you can find it. Now, once we have that saved and we want to test the layer just to double check that we have done what we wanted to, I have this layer here that is the correct source layer, and I can right click and open the symbology tab. And then up here, these three lines, you can click import symbology. So it'll auto-populate the input layer, and then here the symbology layer, we'll have to navigate to that. Okay, here's that layer. Hit OK. Sometimes here in this symbology field section, Arc will give you an error like the fields aren't right. So you're able to hit this X to remove the fields, and that won't mess anything up. Your symbology will still apply correctly. It's not telling me that things aren't looking right, so I'm going to leave it as is and then hit run. And it looks correct. So I'm satisfied with that, and now I can put that layer into a pull request. Okay, now let's go over just some basic symbology information for ArcPro. If you have used ArcPro before, this might be a little bit too basic, but if you're absolutely new to the application, then hopefully this will help you get started. ArcPro can be pretty frustrating to work with, so hopefully this will remove some of the headaches. So when you add a layer to your map, it will have some default symbology. So if we want to work on symbology, right click our layer and click symbology. Since I already had the symbology pane opened, it just switches me to it. But if you close the symbology pane, you're still able to just pull it back up again, right clicking your layer. So we can see here our symbology is single symbol. That's what happens by default. If we wanted to do graduated symbology, then we'll hit this drop down and click graduated colors. So for this tutorial, I'm just going to be recreating what we just saw, the dam capacity layer. So for this layer, the correct field to symbolize is OCCEX. So in this dropdown, I'll select that. And then the number of classes that I want is 8. So I will choose that here. And then I am able to edit this column with the label upper value to choose what my class breaks will be. So looking here, I can see that this first class, the upper value is 0, and then 3, 10, 15, 25, 45, and then greater than 45. So to update these upper values, you just double click and type your number. And if you hit enter, it'll automatically move you to the next category. So I'll just fill these out really quick. Actually, what just happened, you can see that when you're entering numbers, the arc will automatically rearrange based on least to greatest. You can see I just entered this 10 and it moved the class for me. So that can get kind of frustrating. It'll like move your symbols around. So you can work from smallest to largest, or just kind of, if you go in reverse order, you avoid arc moving your classes around. So since our biggest class is greater than 45, I'm going to assign some arbitrarily large for value and then work backwards from there. Did I miss something? Okay, I did a great job counting earlier. There's only 7 classes, but this is an opportunity to demonstrate another feature. This class I don't need, so I'm going to right click it and then hit remove. And now we have 7 classes, and editing the labels is the same way. You just double click, type in the label you want, and when you press enter, it'll automatically move you to that next class label. So let's look at the categorical example. So for this one, I'm just going to be recreating this unsuitable or limited opportunities management output from BRAT. So limitation is the field that's symbolized. So I'm going to click on my layer and it'll automatically update what layer I'm looking at in the symbology pane. And instead of selecting graduated colors, I'm going to select unique values for categorical symbology. Like before, I can choose the correct field, which is limitation, and classes will automatically populate based on what Arc finds in the attribute table. We'll click this plus button. Yeah, there's no other values to add. So this is something that you'll probably have to do every time you're creating categorical symbology in Arc. You're unlikely to see all the classes present in one single Huck10. So you're going to have to manually edit the attribute table to edit and add in more classes. I will show that process in another video. So for the time being, pretend that these are all of the classes that we need. To rearrange things, you can use these arrows, or you can just click and drag. For rule-based symbology, that is more complicated. Here's an example layer from ARCAT in the intermediates riparian vegetation conversion. If I click on this layer, we can see that we have a custom symbology. And if I hit this Chi symbol, it shows me, sorry, it opened on another screen, this expression tab. And you can see kind of complicated, but it allows you more freedom than just using categorical or graduated symbology. When I'm creating these expressions for ArcPro, I work off of something that I've already made in QGIS because the expressions are a lot easier to create in there. And Arc uses its own language called Arcade to create these expressions. So I will just feed my QGIS rules into AI like ChatGPT so that they can help create the same rules just in the Arcade language. There is documentation through Esri of the Arcade language, but you should probably save yourself the time of learning a coding language specific to ArcPro. So that's just simply what rule-based is. Let's go back to our graduated example and actually try and edit some of these symbols. So to edit a symbol, you'll double click on it. By default, it'll open this gallery tab, but you'll want to switch to properties. And here we have these different options, what the color is, the outline color, outline width, size, and then also this is important for IGO's scale-based sizing, which there'll be a tutorial, a separate tutorial on that as well. So IGOs usually don't have any outline, and to change the color, you can click this drop down. And if you're copying hex values from QGIS, you'll need to hit color properties to access this hex value. And a lot of times, by default, Arc will have lab color mode, which is also specific to ArcPro, which doesn't give you the option for a hex value. So you'll have to switch to one of these, which gives you that hex option. And this is also where you adjust transparency, which in QGIS, it's opacity, and here in ArcPro, it's transparency. Those are inverses of each other. So just pay attention to that. If something has 70% opacity, it'll have 30% transparency. After making your edits to your symbol, you'll want to hit apply down here to apply the symbology, and then you can back out to look at the overview of symbology again and start editing the rest of the symbols. Hopefully, this quick overview gives you some idea of how to navigate doing symbology work in ArcPro, and there will be another tutorial that will give you more specific tips for roadblocks that I run into often and some tricks for how to make the curation process in ArcPro less painful.